This might be one of the weirdest and craziest Nintendo Directs that we've ever seen. And not weird or crazy because I think there's going to be a bunch of massive, major announcements like a brand new Mario Kart or a brand new 3D Mario game or the next big monolith soft title. But crazy because we have no idea what Nintendo plans to do with the transition to the successor pretty much right there. Now, you guys probably all know at this point, Nintendo announced that there's going to be a big, brand new, full Nintendo Direct. I want to go over what they had to say, get into some of my predictions, but then also state why this one should be or could be the weirdest one, where you're going to have very far sides of what people are expecting, and even after it happens, what people think about the show. But before we get into it, what's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell for the best Nintendo and RPG content on YouTube. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the announcement. Nintendo announced this on Twitter. Join us for a hashtag Nintendo Direct live stream focused on hashtag Nintendo Switch games coming in the second half of 2024. There will be no mention of the Nintendo Switch successor during this presentation. The date is June 18th. That is tomorrow as of the time that I'm recording this video. It's at 7 a.m. PT. That is 10 a.m. Eastern. Use the internet to translate it to where you live in the world. And it's roughly 40 minutes long, which means it's going to be a bit above 40 minutes. And of course, you can watch it on their websites. You can watch it on YouTube. I will be live reacting to the show, and we will be live well before the show starts, so you can come through, get your predictions in, talk with the other chatters. It's going to be a ton of fun. People in the community, we always have a blast, whether these are amazing or not. But let's get back into the weird thing about this Nintendo Direct before I get into my predictions. Once again, we've had a lot of games come out in the last number of months that were remakes, remasters, ports, and I've already talked about that type of stuff and we'll get into it. But this one's weird because Nintendo clearly can't show all of the biggest games that they have lined up. Switch 2 resources, they've pretty much admitted that at their investor meeting. They admitted that they are having resources and games set for that system. So I don't expect anything crazy, but this could be one of those directs that has so many of the little things that people have been clamoring for, people have been wanting. So you're going to get a lot of people that are super excited about the announcements because it's things that people have just been waiting all generation for, or it's been rumored for a long time, or they bring back some old franchises that don't sell like crazy, but people are like, oh wow, that's a pretty cool remaster, that's a pretty cool remake. I'm glad they're bringing that back for the core Nintendo fans, but people that are looking for more of the blockbuster or third-party big AAA type of games, like for example the Xbox showcase that happened recently that people just loved, I don't see it topping the hype of that showcase with the overall gaming public out there. But for core Nintendo fans, this could be the best direct for maybe some of them, considering what Nintendo has left, which would just be a lot of fan requested stuff. Now let's go over some of the things that I feel could be there. These aren't definitive predictions 100%, but I feel that could be there based off of rumors, based off of the fact that it's been a while since we've heard about some things. There's been some murmurs here and there. So we're going to go over a full list of that, plus some small sliver chances of it. So it's going to be more of a smorgasbord of different things, more so than any direct, okay, here are my predictions, this is what I think is happening. It's just kind of throwing some things out there based off of stuff and kind of going over it. Now, let's jump into it here. Fire Emblem 4 Remake, this is something that I've been predicting for quite some time now. It still seems like it's coming. Nate the Hate has talked about this game and how Nintendo is just kind of sitting on it and that it still should be coming. So Fire Emblem 4 Remake, this is Genealogy of the Holy War. This game has never been localized. It's one of the most intense Fire Emblem games ever, one of the craziest Fire Emblem games ever, and story-wise, there's nothing like this Fire Emblem. It's just going to be interesting because it's a Super Nintendo game, and it's going to be a remake, so what art style they're going to use, I think that's going to be the interesting thing with this title, but we just don't know, so I'm hoping that Fire Emblem 4 Remake maybe starts the show off. I mean, it could be a finisher, but I think maybe it will be a starter for Nintendo. Next up is Icarus Uprising. This is a game that's stuck on the Nintendo 3DS, that the only major issue with the game is the controls, and it's on the Nintendo 3DS. The store is shut down. the system is pretty much dead at this point. So it makes complete sense for them to bring this over to the Nintendo Switch, and Sakurai has even stated himself that he'd love to see Kid Icarus Uprising being brought back. So that is a little bit of a hint of potentially them bringing it back in HD with modern controls. Next up is Metroid Prime 2, Metroid Prime 3, and Metroid Prime 4. These games have been rumored for so long with Metroid Prime 2 and Metroid Prime 3, and with 4, it's been in development for so long, since 2019 with the reboot of the development, or maybe even a bit before that, but the game was first announced back in 2017, although they kind of had to, just to make sure that Metroid fans don't go crazy, because at E3 that year, they had Metroid Samus Returns. So I do feel that Metroid Prime 2, 3, and 4 finally get some announcements. We see some rollouts of it. Maybe we see Metroid Prime 2 and 3 just like Pikmin 1 and 2 was. I think that is absolutely possible. Next up is Star Fox Assault, or even a F-Zero remaster. These games could be remastered and brought back. F-Zero fans and Star Fox fans have been dying for something mainline and new. We did get F-Zero 99, which that is a cool game, but obviously not the big F-Zero game that people are looking for. Star Fox Assault is a game that people would love to have. We haven't had anything on Star Fox down for a number of years. If they brought back this, did a HD remaster of it, and bring it for people to play on modern controls, I think people would love that. So Star Fox or F-Zero, or maybe even both for these, I think these could come back. Plus, there's been some rumors with both of them as well. They're not just off-the-cuff predictions. There's been some rumors with the F-Zero GX remaster, and even Star Fox Assault, or even bringing over Star Fox Zero, non-motion controls of the Wii U, so that could be good as well. But yeah, we'll see what happens with either one of these, or maybe even both of them. Next up, we've got a third-party title with Final Fantasy Tactics. This is a game that has been rumored, NVIDIA leaked multiple times, all sorts of stuff, and we also have a very credible source with Jason Schreier saying that Final Fantasy Tactics is happening. So I don't think it's a coincidence that he reconfirmed that again, and it's close to the Nintendo Direct. That makes me think that FF Tactics will be at this show revealed. It's going to be a multi-plat game, but I do feel that they're going to first show it up on the Nintendo Switch, as these type of games do really well on the platform, like Triangle Strategy and Fire Emblem, for example. Now, next up, we've got Dragon Quest 1 through 3 HD 2D Remake, or simply just Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake. Now, based off of what Square Enix has stated with Erdrick's story coming back, I'm guessing they're going to want to have all of them there, and maybe that's one of the reasons why we have not seen Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake in some time, because they're actually HD remaking all of them when it comes to the Erdrick trilogy, the Lodo trilogy. So I think that could absolutely be a thing. We're just going to have to wait and see, but I think it'd be a hype announcement. So FF Tactics and Dragon Quest back to back, that'd be really cool, or very close to each other. I think a lot of Final Fantasy fans, a lot of Square Enix RPG fans would love that. Now, next up, I do think that we could be getting some more remasters and re-releases. Kirby Planet Robobot remaster. I mean, there's always something for Kirby at most of the Nintendo Directs, whether it's a spin-off, a re-release, a new game, or something. It's too early for Kirby and the Forgotten Land Part 2, or the next big major 3D Kirby game, or even the next big major 2D Kirby game if they want to do that. So I see them bringing back an older Kirby game. People have been really wanting something like Kirby Triple Deluxe or Planet Robobot, so I think that is a possibility as well. Next up would be Yoshi's Woolly World. That's a game that's on the Nintendo Wii U and the 3DS, but it's not on the Switch at this point. We got the Crafted World. I think bringing Woolly World would be great, and I can see them definitely doing that in the twilight of the Nintendo Switch lifespan at this point. Next up, I think Metal Slug Tactics. That game recently got a release window and new trailer, so I think that would be really good if they showed that game off again. I feel that Deca Police is absolutely a game that they could show again in terms of timing and all that. We have to wait and see, though. That might not be there. It was at, I think, the 2022 or 2023 Nintendo Direct, the early one that they do, and it was awesome as a brand new IP from Level 5. Or they might just wait to the Level 5 Vision event, which should be happening sometime in the summer here, maybe next month, or maybe we'll hear about it very soon. They have to delay it from April. So I do think that Deca Police could be shown once again, or even the Professor Layton game, right? They have a Professor Layton game that's coming out. They also have the soccer game as well. So they have quite a number of different things. So any one of those could show up from Level 5. Next up is a game that many people feel could be something major, and that is a brand new Ace Attorney game, or some type of Ace Attorney re-release. Now, I know that they've already done a number of Ace Attorney re-releases, so I'm not exactly sure which one this would be. I'm not a big Ace Attorney fan, but Pioro did retweet a tweet talking about a leak of a new Ace Attorney game, or an Ace Attorney game being at the Nintendo Direct or being revealed soon. So I think that with that retweet from Pioro, I think that Ace Attorney should be somewhat of a lock for the event. And if it's a brand new Ace Attorney game, that would be pretty big, because Ace Attorney sells good, reviews well, people like the games, so I can see that happening. Next up is a brand new Mario Party or Mario Baseball game. People have been wanting Mario Sluggers to come back and all of that, or even Mario Party. That sells really well. There was some code name leaks a bit with Mario Party, so I can see Mario Party or even Mario Baseball, something Mario coming back. We've had so many Mario and Mario Universe type of games recently. It would make perfect sense if we get more of it, especially considering how well Mario Party sells. If they want to do that, another Mario Party game, and it's been a number of years since the last one, or Mario Baseball. Even though baseball has not been a game that they've done many times, I think that'd be kind of cool to bring as a summer game. All right, next up, we also got some more third-party stuff. Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster. I definitely think these games are going to be announced with a release date here. It got delayed and there's been nothing. It wasn't at any of the other shows, so I'm guessing, hey, this is the last show that we're going to have for them to actually talk about the game. So Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster, I see them actually having a release date for that. Next up is the Switch port Beg Apocalypse that we always talk about, which I always hear about, and that is The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess and The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. These games finally getting remasters, ports, whatever you want to call it, double pack, whatever the case is, them coming back in some type of way on the Nintendo Switch, so finally people can just shut up about these games. I mean, we've talked about it a million times. It's been rumored for forever. I think that Nintendo's probably just sitting on them like they did sit on many of their other remasters and ports, so I do think that these will happen finally at this point. Next up is kind of a wild card, but I want to talk about it, and that is Samus Returns HD. I do think that because of the success of Metroid Dread, because of the success that we've seen of the NSO Metroid games and people kind of getting back into it, I do feel that they could do an HD port of Samus Returns. And once again, it's a 3DS game, a really good 3DS game, stuck on the Nintendo 3DS with no way to actually come back. So maybe a little bit of hopium there, but I do feel that there's some precedent to have a Samus Returns come back, considering how much better Metroid Dread sold and the popularity of the franchise now at this point. I think that we could see that. A new Donkey Kong game could also be something that they show off as well. It could be a brand new Donkey Kong game, but I'm kind of leaning more towards like Donkey Kong Country Returns coming back. Once again, a game that's stuck on old hardware on the Wii and on the Nintendo 3DS, and it's a fantastic game, sold really good, reviewed really well, and it would go perfectly alongside Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. So having just something for Donkey Kong fans to play would be awesome, just because there's been nothing outside of Tropical Freeze. I mean, Mario and Donkey Kong doesn't count, so there really hasn't been anything outside of that, an NSO game. So it would make sense for a new Donkey Kong game, or even a Donkey Kong Country Returns port. Now, next up, we've got a new Wario Land game or port. Now, Wario Land has been gone for a hot minute. They've done WarioWare all over the place. So we've gotten multiple WarioWare games. Those are cheaper, obviously easier to make a bit more than a new Wario Land game with actual levels and new music and all sorts of different stuff that you can do in terms of abilities and features. So this could happen. Now, I don't have anything when it comes to like rumors or anything like that. I just think that when you're trying to fill out the back half, maybe you go back and you look into the well, like that Wario Land Shake It type of game. And they did bring back one for the NSO, so there is that. So maybe they do something when it comes to a port. I'm guessing maybe a port of that Wii game. Has a really good art style. People really like that game. Has a lot of crazy motion controls in it, but they can obviously make it to where you can do motion and you can also use the buttons. So I do see maybe something from Wario coming back, as well as the expanded Mario universe type of game. Now, I do have some sliver 1% chances of happening. These are 1% for a variety of reasons, whether because it's been rumored for so long, or there really isn't any more rumors or evidence, but just some stuff that I'm going to throw out there. So Mario Galaxy 2, Xenoblade Chronicles X, Golden Sun coming back or a remaster, Hollow Knight Silk Song, Mother 3, Xenosaga 1 through 3 HD. These are all things that potentially could happen, but we just don't know. I mean, who knows? A sliver, 1% chance, but I'm not expecting it, but I'd be pleasantly surprised if it does, especially with Xenoblade Chronicles X. That is a game that people have been asking for forever, so it could hit that crazy 1% chance at this point. Maybe that's a Switch 2 type of thing, but we're just gonna have to wait and see overall what they plan to do. So those are the reasons why this could be the greatest or potentially the worst Nintendo Direct for some people, depending on what side you sit on with what type of games that you like. Or it could be the weirdest Nintendo Direct, because it could just be packed full of ports and remasters, but it could be things that you actually want to play. What are your predictions? What are your thoughts when it comes to the Nintendo Direct coming up? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out our other Nintendo Switch and RPG games right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.